A sharp-looking guy in a suit with a briefcase has breakfast in the museum, gazing at a Monet. He adores it even though more expensive pieces hang nearby. Thomas is a billionaire. He owns a procurement company and an entire office building. At work, the secretary wonders where his briefcase went. He says he forgot it in his office and heads to a meeting. Meanwhile, a new exhibit arrives at the museum, a statue of a horse, though the paperwork says it should be an Etruscan sarcophagus. The staff decides to sort it out after the weekend. A little later, 3 thieves climb out of the horse. They move like pros, outsmarting security and dodging every camera. Thomas leaves the office carrying his briefcase. At the museum, a guide shows school kids the same painting he was admiring. Its value is a cool $100 million. Thomas strolls into the gallery and leans back on a bench as if nothing matters. The thieves pretend to be security staff, checking whether any visitors are still inside the halls. A guard asks Thomas to stand up so he can inspect the seat. The billionaire refuses and gives him a smug smile. While the guard argues with him, Thomas quietly swaps bench legs. He leaves his own briefcase behind and walks away. On his way out, he tells head guard Bobby the Impressionist gallery is closed. Bobby goes to check it out. A helicopter hovers above the building. The thieves lie that the gallery is shut for VIPs only, but Bobby gets the picture and pulls out a taser. The crew bolts, and Thomas casually trips one of them. While that guy is getting cuffed, the alarms blare and the gallery doors start sliding shut. And then the billionaire suddenly ducks under them, snatches the painting, and wriggles back into the corridor where panicked visitors are sprinting for the exits. Turns out he propped the door with a decoy titanium briefcase. The thieves are arrested, and Thomas strolls calmly out of the building. At home, he hangs the canvas and pours a drink, savoring the view. Detective Michael starts the museum investigation. He hears about the Trojan horse and says the culprits have a sense of humor. In walks Catherine, an insurance investigator. She notes the thieves had a weird plan. How on earth did they expect to cram 4 men, plus paintings weighing about 500 kilos, into a helicopter rated for only 300 kilos? Thomas plays golf with a friend, betting $100,000 on a clean shot. Looks like he truly has more money than he can spend. Michael pulls background on Catherine. Born in Ohio, lives in Europe, and was married for 6 months. When Catherine arrives at the museum, they review the thermal camera footage. But at the key moment, the image is overexposed, almost blown out. She realizes why the ventilation was shut off. Around the stolen painting, the air was a toasty 30 degrees Celsius. She inspects the gallery and notices the bench has 2 different legs. And in the footage, there were 3 of them. That mysterious third leg was actually a briefcase. Catherine figures there was a heater inside it, set on a timer. She turns down the detective's offer to grab a bite and asks him to drive her to the station. There, Thomas identifies the robber in the lineup. The woman also clocks something suspicious in the billionaire's behavior. She intimidates the detained Romanian. The man admits the robbery wasn't their plan. They were handed the blueprints. Catherine believes the crew's failure was baked into the operation. It distracted everyone from the real objective: lift $100 million off the wall and stroll out the front door. Michael says they'll nab the mastermind when he tries to sell the painting. The woman argues it isn't about the money, because this is a refined crime by a lover of Monet. She checks who's been buying his paintings at auctions and spots the surname Thomas. Michael warns that Crown has man-eating lawyers and heavyweight political connections. Catherine laughs with cocksure. Thomas loans the museum a Pissarro to display until Monet returns. At the gala in his honor, Catherine meets Crown. She tells him she's hunting him and plans to catch him. He plays surprised, suggests dinner tomorrow, and she agrees. Afterward, Crown visits his therapist. She asks why he's so pleased with himself. He says he's enjoying the game, and a worthy opponent. In the morning, Michael scolds Catherine for jeopardizing the case. She retorts that the police would tail him for months, while she learned in 10 minutes enough to be sure he's the mastermind. Thomas loves risk, and for now, she'll play along. Michael shows up at Crown's home with a warrant. By wondrous coincidence, Thomas is lunching with his attorney, who blocks the search on the spot. Catherine vows to get inside the billionaire's house anyway. That evening, Thomas takes her to the museum. It's chilly, and he drapes his jacket over her shoulders. Catherine fishes a key from the pocket and sets it on a plinth. She remarks that if it were up to her, she'd pick a different picture. Thomas says anything can be acquired. Over dinner, Catherine says she's read his file and knows Crown hails from Glasgow and studied on a boxing scholarship. He's read up on her too and knows she dated plenty of men. but never for long. Catherine says women do foolish things with men. Thomas toasts to the thrill of almost getting caught and sends a bottle of wine to the detectives at the next table. She says business must bore him. The chase is more exciting than ownership. He parries that rewards bore her. It's the pursuit she craves. He flirts, and she laughs. Surely he doesn't think she'll spend the night with a suspect. She slips to the ladies' room. Her partner returns the key. He already made a copy. Crown walks Catherine home. She hugs him and flips the keys in the air. They trade a long, loaded look. Michael is relieved to learn she's sleeping alone. Next day, Catherine's team slips into Crown's place and finds the stolen painting. At the station, everyone applauds her. Michael says that was breaking and entering. She answers her job is to recover the loss, and she just did. The expert examines the canvas and, surprise, beneath the top layer hides another painting, dogs playing cards. Catherine realizes she's been played for a fool. She heads to a gala where Thomas is dancing with a blonde. Catherine dismisses the girl and says she won't peck at crumbs he scatters. They dance, and suddenly, Catherine kisses Thomas. Afterward, they spend the night together in his lavish home. In the morning, she warns she won't back off. He says he'd be disappointed if she did. Later, the therapist tells Thomas that if he's found someone worthy, he cuts her off. He still has to think. Catherine returns to the precinct. Michael eyes photos of her in Thomas's arms. She coolly says she's doing her job. She has fun with Crown, and he teaches her to handle a light airplane. After that, they take a private jet to a resort. Catherine notices the luggage crew carry out a wooden crate the size of a painting. They arrive at a secluded house. She admires the terrace view and suddenly spots the same crate. He offers to open it, but Catherine declines. Later, he repeats the offer, but she refuses to believe his hard-won prize is inside and feeds the crate to the fire. Thomas says it held a Renoir. She doesn't know if that's true, but concedes life with him is never dull. In the morning, Catherine sees a visitor with him. It seems Crown is shifting assets to vanish. When she asks about it, he notes that if he disappears, she gets nothing, no painting, no payout, and no him. He offers $10 million as a parting gift and promises to teach her how to hide it. She jokes it off. At night, she presses him on how he'll wriggle out of this. He says it's all just a game. Back in the city, Michael teases Catherine and shows photos of Thomas with the blonde. The billionaire met her 3 times in a week. Upset, Catherine goes to a bar. Michael catches up and tries to console her, and she snaps back. Later at the station, she hands him the painting's tacking edges and explains that before a work is insured, it's removed from the frame and the margins are photographed. Those edges are never seen in galleries or at auctions, only by insurers. By them, you can tell a fake, but forgers can copy the edges too if they've seen the originals. Meaning if Crown's fake Monet is too perfect, you can track the painter and squeeze him. It turns out she had the edges for 5 days, but only handed them over now. That evening, Thomas gifts her extravagant jewelry and invites her to dinner with an old friend. Catherine isn't in the mood, and he guesses it's because of the blonde photos. He tries to explain, but she won't listen. Finally, he admits he staged it all to make sure she wanted him, not the canvas. He proposes they run, and his money will cover an easy life. Catherine is rattled. In the morning, Michael says the edges match. They trace the forger. He's in prison. The inmate denies painting the piece, but he gazes at it with pride. Police discover he has a child named Tyrol. Together with Crown, that person co-owned galleries across Europe. Michael praises Catherine and says she can't be fooled. The girl asks her assistant how to cash out and move her assets. She grabs a taxi to Thomas, and on his bed sits the blonde, with suitcases packed. The man swears she works for him, but Catherine can't trust him anymore. He says at least he trusts her because tomorrow he'll return the painting to the museum, and she can either hand him to cops or meet him and fly away. Thomas kisses her, but she pushes him off and heads to Michael. They set an ambush in the museum. Michael tells Catherine she did everything right. He says Tyrol is a daughter, not a son, and shows a photo of that same blonde. Crown knew her since she was 10 and took her in after her father went to prison, then put her through college. Catherine is horrified. What has she done? Thomas has already entered the museum and lingers in front of the cameras. He puts on a bowler hat like in the painting of the faceless businessman and walks on. He swaps his briefcase for an identical one. The cops clock it and decide the painting is inside. But suddenly the building floods with people in bowlers carrying briefcases. Michael orders them all detained. The Impressionists' hall is locked down. No sneaking in. Thomas lobs smoke canisters and trips the fire alarm. Fireproof shields drop over the galleries, but not over the Pissarro. The path is blocked by pencils planted there in advance. Water pours from the ceiling and washes pigment off the canvas. Underneath lies the original Monet. Crown returned the painting immediately after the theft, but right now he's stolen the one Catherine likes. The woman realizes she can still make their meeting. Michael guesses where she's headed. He says he chases killers and sadists, and if some Houdini wants to swipe a daub, he couldn't care less. He asks Catherine to say hello to Thomas. She says Michael is a good man and kisses him. The woman races to the helipad. She spots a man in a bowler, but it isn't Thomas. The stranger hands her the stolen painting. Catherine buys a plane ticket and asks the desk to forward the canvas to the police. In flight, she cries, and then a hand from the seat behind offers her a handkerchief. It's Thomas. He orchestrated everything. She wants to kill him, but instead just kisses him. This is the end of the film. Thank you all for watching this video to the end. Give this video a like. Write in the comments what you think about this film, and see you in new videos.